Hello and welcome to episode 8 of my podcast called Soul Expansion and Inspiration. My name is Allie O'Shea, and today I would love to welcome my guest, Glenn Marasca, to the show.
Yes.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, brilliant.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Lovely to see you and have you here with us today. Glenn is a natural leader and coach. He has been on the Discovery Channel and DIY. Is that correct? DIY? Yeah.
DIY.
DIY, yeah, DIY for sustainable building. He also teaches people how to start up companies while tying in their natural spirit. Welcome to you, Glenn. How are you?
It's beautiful here in Joshua Tree, California. It's going to be about 75 degrees today.
I'm so jealous.
Full sun, full sun. Might turn on the air conditioning. I don't know.
I've got the heat on beside me.
Yeah, just distance from the equator.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, isn't it? So like there's 8 hours between us. You're 8 hours behind me here in Ireland.
Yes.
But so you've been on the TV, which is amazing, and helped people start up companies. And you say, you know, while tying in their natural spirit. Do you want to tell us what you mean by that?
So when you feel someone's energy, like I feel yours, and you're feeling my energy, when you feel that energy, if you just kind of breathe it in and take that. And I think all of us have that to a certain extent. You know, it's how you feel and take their strength and go, all right, this is where their strength is. And then you get a sense of how their petals open and that they blossom and be who they're meant to be. And when you go to the blinders, the invisible book saying this is how it's done, it's getting people past the invisible book of, hey, you own this. You can be anyone you want to be. Do not sell yourself short. And then, in the natural, I try and give tangibles, because if I can create a tangible, it makes it even better. If I can take an example of this is how we get there. The people that are put in my path in these instances, some of them, like one particular gentleman, I worked with him for about 4 years before he got it. The penny dropped and he got it. And when he got it, he's like, wow, I was fighting you the whole time. And I'm like, yeah, it's okay. I mean, it was not fun for me at times because he would really fight. Really distance. Like, here's what you're going to do. And he's like, no, I can't do that. But I've also learned to allow people that not everybody is ready when they think they're ready.
Exactly. Sometimes our egos think we're ready for things that we're not ready for.
And so you'll stumble. And I choose to not be a part of stumble. So I've learned to develop my own tools to see where someone's at, and if they're really ready. And at times I can come off like I might be a little mean about it, but it's more a matter of I have to find that point of going, well, I'm going to hold you, but you've got to step forward. But eventually I'm not going to hold you.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. What was the series called that you were on?
So, well, I had different products because I engineered and developed different types of systems for solar PV systems, hot water systems, evacuated tube, in-floor, forced air conditioning, sustainable build techniques with walls and such, and living roofs, community gardens, that sort of thing in Seattle.
Amazing.
It's a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So the one series was 7 green homes, and it was this Steve guy from this old house. I recognized him. He has nice hair. But and then like while going through it, I realized that also
he has nice hair.
He had nice hair, yeah. He did. He had great hair. A really nice guy. But what was interesting is, like, after you see all this stuff cut and drop to the floor, they really do take like reality television as it would be and make it their own. So it's like, it isn't you. It isn't this. It isn't like they can take, I've watched people take words from my mouth, spin them around to something where I go, I didn't say that. And I'm like,
That's
it's
mad,
not.
isn't it?
Yeah, so you guess so I did my time with that, and the do-it-yourself network. Um, uh, I had moved a few houses where I'd taken them off their foundation. One I moved to, there's an area called the San Juan Islands, just north, which is beautiful, of the Seattle area, where we put these houses on barges and moved them. One we moved down the street, and it was just a way of reclaiming and saving them and making them more efficient. The downside of being a contractor, though, is like when people go, "Wow, I got this house for, $20,000, and it costs hundreds of thousands to move, and I have to break the news." I'm like, "So when we jack this thing up and move it, we're gonna break every window in the house." They're like, "What do you mean we will?" And I'm like, "Because that foundation that it was on, we don't know how that was poured." So now we're gonna set it down on a new foundation. And when we set it down and now the house is perfectly level and square again, it's just going to blow them out.
Yeah.
And sometimes they just won't open or close anymore. Same thing with doors. In the house. It was fun. It was
sounds like fun. It sounds like lots of fun. I'm sure, for the listeners who are aware that this is like about spiritual awakening, and people might be thinking, what the heck has that got to do with anything anyway? But your journey started, you say to me, at the very beginning. In other words, when you were born, that you always felt the presence of energies that surround us. You say that you were born understanding the age of souls and their journeys on the planet. Nobody told you, you just knew. So do you want to tell everybody a little bit about that, a little bit more about you and how you see and feel energies? Because it's fascinating to me.
So one of the best stories, my father, who's in his mid-80s now, actually asked me not long ago if I still feel the same way. I was playing in the sandbox, playing with soil and doing and building things. And I'm not sure what instigated this, but he had asked me to be careful of something because it costs money. And I go, money isn't important. I was like 6. Like, money's not important.
Wow. That's amazing for a 6-year-old to say that, isn't it?
Life is not about money, because, and I've always known I have this really old soul that's also a little snarky. I'm like, life isn't about money. And we had this long conversation about it, and he walked away mad at a 6-year-old. And he still asked me about this, and I'm like, yeah, he's still a little mad that I'm like, yeah, money's not important. Like, well, how do you make a living? Do you go out and make it happen? I'm like, no, it's always happened. I've never actually gone looking for it. I've just always allowed it to happen. I've always felt being an empath, I've always felt people's energy. I've always which not knowing what an empath was until much, much later in life, not knowing that everyone didn't heal themselves. I didn't understand that. I thought, like, if you have a headache, make it go away. What's your problem? I really didn't. I didn't get it, because as complex as a brain could be, on that level, I'm incredibly simplistic.
Fantastic. Yeah.
When someone said to me about 6 years ago, they're like, "Oh, you're an empath." I'm like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you read people's energy. And I'm like, yeah, I always have. I don't know how you people do it. I don't know. Like, I thought I was broken. I thought I was the only one out there that just didn't get it. I'm like, how they have tools I don't, because somehow they can walk into this room. The spirits don't bother them. The fact that you can feel like the energy of dishonesty or whatever that energy is going on, you can feel it. And at that point in time, and for years, I would take it and I would hold it like it was mine. And I didn't realize I was picking up spirit's energy, all this energy, and thinking it was mine. And I'm like, oh, I feel terrible.
Yeah.
Not really. I just picked up other energy. So now, the universe allowed at the right time for someone to pop in and go, this is what's going on.
Yeah. So presumably you've learned to protect yourself since then, have you?
Oh, you know what? It's not what I did realize about me, because even when I have a negative spirit, is I have enough energy in me, I can make anything leave.
Right.
So I don't have to salt the house. I don't have to cover the mirrors. I don't have to do anything. I can conjure up enough energy, because that's one thing I did learn how to do over the years, if there's a really negative energy, I will scoop it up and I can build a ball of electricity. Can also short out appliances on occasion, which kind of sucks when they're expensive.
Yeah.
I blew out like a $600 range hood, and I'm like, oh.
A which?
A range hood. So it sits over the oven, the fan.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so, but it was a really nice one. LEDs, remote control. It was sweet.
No.
Yeah, and I'm like, crap. I really, really liked it. And I didn't have $600. And I wasn't going to spend $600 to blow out another one, so I threw in a solid state one.
No.
But yeah, so from childhood, all these experiences, I picked up at a certain point. I picked up an uncle that I never met in the natural, that's been traveling with me my entire life, just about.
Is he your guide?
He's one of them. I've got quite a few. Like I was hiking the other day, and I was just having a moment, and I looked over, and this is so unnerving. I looked over, and there was like three of them on my left and three of them on my right, and I'm like, well, this is new, and all of them are just hanging out and hiking with me. And then one of them, I felt her grab hold of my hand and just was holding hands with me while I was walking. And I'm like, oh, this is so wild and so beautiful. It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
It was just
amazing.
An amazing moment. Yeah.
And did you chat with them?
All the time. All the time. Yeah, I love them. I do. I love them all.
You told me a funny story earlier, didn't you, about when you were at the Home Depot store and some guy appeared in your car. He latched onto you from the Home Depot store.
Yes. I just was driving home. It's about 5 miles away, and I look over, and there's this energy there. I can see him. I can sometimes make out. I don't go looking for it. I really don't like to push things. So if it's easy, great. I'm not going to force anything. And this guy's right there, and he's in his early 20s. I could hear him sharing the energy of his story with me, and that he had passed away, and he was hanging out with his parents, following him around, and he saw me in the Home Depot store. And so we got about halfway home, and again, I will channel that energy up and no BS and make people like, we got to get to this, get it done, because you're not going home. Not with me.
Coming home with me.
Yeah, this is not going to happen. And so, I direct them to source.
Yeah. Brilliant.
And so this is like, do you see it? Do you see it? Do you see it now? Like, you're safe. It's all good. It's good. And then I'll feel them go. And it's okay. It's okay. Now, every now and then someone will piggyback me and I don't know it. And so another friend will see that, like, I saw a motorcyclist die. And when his spirit left, it latched onto me, and he was very angry. Oh. And so I couldn't figure out why I had a backache. I don't get backaches. Just like didn't make sense. And I had this backache, and another friend of mine goes, "You've got this really dark energy attached to you." And then she went to explain, she's like, he like telling me how old he was, this, that, and the other, but I couldn't see him because of where he was on me. And she explained the scenario, which I'd never told her about. And I'm like, yeah, all right, he needs to go, and we sent him on his way. But he was upset because he was 22 years old, had his first baby on the way, and he got T-boned, it was awful. But that was like, that's like, we go when we're supposed to go. It's like,
well, I actually believe we choose when we go ourselves. Abraham Hicks talks about that. So, we choose when we go ourselves, is what they say, that every death is actually a suicide, which is quite a controversial thing to say, really.
Well, I mean, it kind of, because we can shut off. Like, someone asked me about that recently, and I said, well, you can turn off whenever you want to turn off.
Yeah. They also say, like, dementia and Alzheimer's is people checking out. It's another form of checking out, which is.
Well, and we try to force people to hold on when they're not meant to.
Yeah.
So, because some people, their time is their time.
Yeah. Exactly.
And occasionally we'll hear them talking to us saying, "Let me free. I want to be free." I've heard people with cancer that are dying saying, "Let me free. I want to be free," and they're detached. They like it's their soul talking to me. It's
Yeah.
not like they don't even realize they're doing it, but then the orbs are starting to show up, and I'm
Yes.
like,
Oh my goodness, you must tell the listeners about that. So you see orbs. Is it okay
only
to
when
talk about it?
only when someone's getting close to passing.
You see orbs only when somebody's getting close passing. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing. And you
it's
don't
the
see
only
them
time.
any other times. You don't.
No, no. A neighbor of mine, I saw this dark cloud of energy above his house one day, and it like funneled down and dropped into the house. I'm like, that was really weird. And then I was drawn to go over and talk to him, and his wife was almost vegetative, but lived for like 10 years longer than she really should have. But she held on. Really, she held on for him. It was timing. So she held on for him, for the right woman to replace her. And I could feel that, I could hear that, and I knew that. So that's why she was there. But he was at a point where he was so depressed that I went over and he was contemplating killing her and then killing himself.
Oh, when that dark energy dropped that you saw.
Yeah. And
Wow.
so I spent the next 2 hours talking to him, and then I felt the energy go whoosh. Now the beautiful thing is he doesn't remember the conversation.
Oh,
And
wow.
I wouldn't want him to remember that conversation. I don't want him to remember that moment, because it was a really dark, dark moment, and that dark
Yeah.
energy settled in. Because he invited it. He invited the dark energy, and I've been there. I get it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Wasn't it beautiful that you could help him through that?
yeah, yeah. From your perspective, for me, it's just what I do. So it's like saying, "Isn't that great? You did your job." It's like, oh,
No, I
that's
know. Yeah, exactly. We all cross each other's paths for a reason. I know all that. But
yeah. No. But I'm just saying, it's like this. Like I don't think about it that way. I don't go, oh, like, oh, this whole life. You wake up in the morning and you're joyous, and you go, wow, that. I mean, that's the point where the beauty starts. And then all day long, like even our conversation right now, this is beautiful.
yeah,
This is where the energy goes, and you go, oh yeah, wow, this is
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Allowing yourself to flow with the nature of who you are. So there was a time when I would choose my words carefully, and I would go, well, I really need to articulate in a manner that is conducive to a fluid conversation. Opposed to let it go.
Yeah,
If you want to laugh and be silly, laugh and be silly. Have a good time.
exactly. Yeah,
You
exactly. I agree.
know?
Go with the flow.
Be Yeah, so where we know how to do it, and but like going with that flow is that moment. No, what was interesting is when his wife passed, she passed on her own. Like she had one orb that was in front of me. Their house, they're all 5-acre lots out here, so they're 10 acres away. And the orb was a good size, but it was like a dark color orb, and I had never seen a dark colored orb before. And there was only one, and it hung out in front of me and then shot over to their house. And later on, I asked my neighbor about it. I said, only this one orb? Because she did not get out and live life and get to know a lot of people the same way that we do. Not that she wasn't living life, she was living her life. But the only person that she was ever kind of close to was her father, and he wasn't a great guy, which is why he had this dark energy orb, which I'd never seen before in my life. But
Right.
he was the one going to escort her and get her ready. Then
Okay.
another woman had like, I don't know, there must have been 50. But in the natural, she was just wonderful, just the kindest, most beautiful. And cancer took her. I mean, just talking to her, you could feel just the beauty of her. It was angelic. You could tell she was like this was her last run.
Yeah.
She's not coming back. Like Mother Teresa's the same way. Like you can tell that I've done everything I was here to do. This was my run.
Yeah.
And there's a few people that just don't come back. And she was one of them. That was her last run. And it was just amazing. And so She was actually the first time I'd seen that, and I'm talking to her and her husband, and they're everywhere, different sizes, colors, and I'm just trying to like keep my composure.
Yeah.
I can.
Did you know at that time that's what those orbs meant?
That was when I first learned about it.
Because how long later did she die?
A year.
Okay.
Within the year. Everyone's within the year. Yeah.
Oh, it's so creepy to me that well, not creepy, but it's
it can be creepy.
like, like it makes the hairs on the arms stand up, and I remember I said to you, I hope you don't see any orbs around me today.
Yeah, it's hard. Every now and then I see them around someone, and it kind of breaks my heart because it's a young mother or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, actually, my friend she's a spiritual medium and an angel channeler, and she went through a really tough time in the beginning, because a lot of people like tried to push their gifts down, but there was a time in the earlier stage before she did push it down for a little while, where she used to unfortunately see people being killed, that she knew, and there was nothing that she could do about it. She would see them, so in advance. So similar but different, but it's crazy, isn't it, really, when you think about it? Yeah, that you see all of those things.
I try and be really careful. Like if I see a premonition of what can be, I set those aside.
Yeah.
I don't. There's so many things at play in the universe.
Yeah, because we all have free will. So if you were to go around telling people certain things, then our free will, it's not the same. We might choose to do what we think we're supposed to. Do you know what I mean?
I do, and yeah, and that's where touching on where I question if we really have free will.
Well,
because of the story of Heather is what brought up part of me questioning free will.
Well, we will get to that story in a little bit.
But that's an important part of when we get to that.
True. Yeah, I understand what you mean. I do get what you mean. Yeah.
And we're the only creature on the planet that has choice and free will that we know of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what life would be like for us if we thought we didn't.
Yeah.
Like if we then it's like, well, then what the heck am I doing here if I don't have free will? And it's interesting. It's a kind of a conundrum. I don't know if it's conundrum. I just find it interesting.
Yeah, because we do make choices, But you say that you don't really follow any spiritual leaders. Just if their energies align, then you will listen to them.
Yes.
Would you like to tell us more about that?
Oh, staying true to yourself.
Listen to Allie O'Shea.
Well, yeah, right.
Why did you listen to Allie O'Shea, for example?
Yeah, I go where I'm drawn to.
Yeah,
I go where I'm drawn to. So I was drawn to you, and I listen. When I'm drawn to somebody, I listen. I'm like, I wonder why I'm drawn to them. Yeah, and I always say for good, that it be for the better good of everyone.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that, and it's always important to me that I go, oh, I'm so grateful for this. Since I let everything flow and fall in and to where it's supposed to be and who I listen to and this, that, and the other. Like, because I have listened to Abraham a few times because it was interesting. And the way the universe explains Abraham to me is the same way I understand a lot of the people, like Wayne Dyer.
Wayne Dyer, yeah.
Yeah, and then Tony something or another.
Tony Robbins.
Yeah. Like, and all these people, like, so every now and then these people would be put in my path for me to hear, like it'll be pop on. There was some, well, I have to find a nice way to put it. a pastor in Austin, Texas, or Houston, or oh man,
Joel Osteen.
yes,
I
him.
love him.
So his early work, I heard him 3 times, maybe 4. His early stuff, I got it. He's stepped out of himself in the more recent years. So he was truly walking his truth in his earlier years. And I felt the shift. And I'm like, why did you show me that? Why did you show me his shift? Like, because it's just important that you understand. Like, okay. Tony, also I saw his shift. Where his early years, he was really, I don't know, I mean, he still walks with Source, but it's different. Now, where Esther still walks with Source, and it is dialed in. Man, I've heard a few, like really a long time ago, more recent than in common, like now. And it's very consistent. You have to be running a frequency, which is the way it's been explained to me. I like to call them my entourage because that's fun. So the entourage, which gives me all this stuff, right? Which is feeding me things, which I don't, is like, you know, if I'm not in tune and in frequency, I don't hear anything. It's almost like being alone.
Yeah.
When I'm in the frequency in that zone and everything's just lined up, the way it's what frequency are you traveling is that's how they get the message to you. So whether it's Tony or wherever someone's at, that's how they get the message to you. So so even with Esther, though I've heard I heard something cool from her today, which made sense. Like it resonated with me, and it was about someone who had his wife had her dream wedding or something like that. A woman they married had this dream wedding, and he's like, "There's no way this is gonna work." He went into it with this mentality, it's not gonna work. But she knew since she was 6 or 8 or whatever, this was her wedding dream, where it was gonna be in Carmel and this, that, and the other, and how everything was gonna fall into place. And everything fell into place. I'm like, that I get, because that is my life.
Yeah.
So, but here, where she had the dream of knowing, I just knew this is like, I can feel the beginning of time and I can feel the end of time. I'm cool with all of it. Yeah. I don't take any sides. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know, don't try and force it on anyone. It's fine. I accept it, but I can also see the beginning and I can see the end, and I'm okay with it. But I also remember previous incarnations in different forms, which is kind of weird for me to say out loud, especially right now, because I don't tell people that. It's like, yeah, no, there was this, and there's this, and this, and you know,
I didn't really believe in incarnation until maybe a year or 2 ago, because I was brought up like in a very religious household. Well, you know, being brought to church all the time, and it was not something that we ever discussed. Reincarnation was just, you know, it was a different type of religion type thing. Other people believe that. So now I'm more open to it. You know, I'm more open to it, obviously, with teaching what I teach and all of that. But, you know, it's funny, having grown up, just totally obliterating the idea that we could ever be such a thing as reincarnated. What do you mean we can be, you know, all of this? But, you know, yeah, so, I mean, it just shows that we're really here to expand and to learn and to grow, you know.
Yeah, oh, it's beautiful. It really is. It's an amazing experience. You know, and my healing energy is like the same thing. It's just, I was born that way with the healing energy. But now I've learned to fine tune it. And occasionally I'll run across another healer that goes, "Have you done this?" Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm like, I've always made the ball of energy. I've always been able to release, not knowing what chakras were. I'm like, if you start here and you work up here, then everything feels good, you know? And then someone's like, "Oh, your chakras." I'm like, "How do you spell that?"
That's too funny.
But it was innate, you know, and I think a lot of us, if you allow, it's innate. And if you allow yourself to stay in this innate stage, then it's good.
Yeah.
You know, and if someone comes along and says, "Well, you have to have a business plan for life," like, maybe you do. I don't. Yeah. I'm like, I know next year I'll make this much money and that this will happen. And it's like, and I'm okay with it. I keep it to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. And you, obviously, we've discussed that you hear and you see spirit guides or spirits. So do you have a gift to be able to pass messages on to others from these spirits or guides, should they need to hear the message?
I tend to not do it.
Do you do it if
Sometimes,
you're asked to do it?
yeah, I
Like if
tend
I
to
was
not.
to say to you, I'm not now, by the way, but if I was to say to you, I won't while we're on the interview. If I was to say to you, do you have a message for me? And you did, would you give it to me? But then maybe not have given it to me had I not asked, is my question.
That's correct.
Okay, perfect.
Because the spirit feels it necessary. So every now and then I will find a roundabout way of sharing something. Because
Yeah.
they'll be so stubborn. I'm like, oh great. Hi, Dad. Somebody, it's like, or they'll be talking over them. And I'll be like, I could be talking to you and I won't hear you because they're talking over you because they really want.
It's a bit like in that movie Ghost where Patrick Swayze is singing, I'm Henry VIII, I am.
Oh, yeah.
You seen that movie?
No, that sounds funny though.
Oh my goodness, you have to watch the movie Ghost. It's about Patrick Swayze dying and finding a medium to give a message to his wife or partner, whatever she was in the movie, Demi Moore. And it's I can't believe you've not seen that movie.
No, I've seen, no.
I know you don't watch TV, but you probably could find it on Netflix. It's called,
yeah, I'm sure it's on Netflix or Hulu
you
or
have
something.
to watch that movie just to get to the part where Patrick Swayze is singing as a spirit to Whoopi Goldberg, I'm Henry VIII, I am, just because she's like going, I don't want to hear you anymore, just like what you're talking about.
That would be it. That would be it. Yeah,
And she's like, shut up.
well, every now and then, my entourage will ask me to do or go someplace, and I will have resistance from like everyone around me, and they think I'm just being difficult.
Right.
But I know where I'm supposed to go and what I'm supposed to do, and it can hurt along the way because people are being so mean about it. But I know what I'm supposed to do, and sometimes that's just what you've got to do. I try and be really careful how I travel my path. But if they tell me they want me to go down the street into this grocery store, I'm like, I'll put up a fight. I'll be like, I don't want to go to that grocery store. Like the other goes, fine, you're stupid. And I go to the grocery store. And then I have this amazing conversation, and everyone I run into has got that what I like to call that fairy dust. Comes down. And I watch their energy go right where they need to go. And I'm like, God, this is a weird life. This is such a weird life. Yeah, but I dig it and I allow it. It's, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
The mediums are there, and I've always known I'm not here to be a medium, which is why it's easy for me to go, I'm not here to be a medium. There are people that are a medium. There are people that are here to be mediums.
Yeah.
I'm not one. Just because they talk to me doesn't mean,
Yeah.
That just, I know that though. I know that it's not my path.
Yeah.
It's hard when someone's about to do something not good for them, but they need to go through it.
Yeah.
And to watch it. I'll find a way to cope. It's getting easier, but yeah. I mean that's the toughest part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
It's easier. In my position, it's easier. It's hard being one of four boys in a very manly household, and everyone in the family is an extreme overachiever. And I was made completely different.
Yeah.
I've had a number of people ask, "Were you adopted?" And I'm like, "No, we all look the same. It's just this soul. This soul was, with purpose,
Yeah.
and I'm okay with it." At one point, when I was 20 years old, I was in an automobile accident, and they had to resuscitate me 3 times. I spent a month in a coma,
Oh, wow.
and completely rebuilt. Like I flew out of a truck at 80 miles an hour, and then the truck, after rolling 7 times, landed right on top of me and crushed my right side. Compressed vertebrae in my neck, down my spine,
Wow.
knee, ankle, shoulders. All it was something. I mean, you look at it, you go, "Wow, that guy's done." You know?
Absolutely.
And so when I woke up, I knew I had a choice to come back. I remember the conversation clearly. I remember the light, the texture, the energy, and knowing I came back with purpose and choice.
So do
I
you
also,
remember your experience on the other side?
yes, it was a very grounded conversation
This is the
my,
second near-death experience conversation I've had today.
no, that's good. So I completely healed the body all on my own. I got it all back where it needed to be. Doesn't work that way according to the natural. This is not what people do, and it shouldn't have happened. But I'm like, no, this is who I am. This is how I heal. This is good.
Yeah.
Put all the pieces back together again. And that's the story of my life. It's always going, all right, well, this is a choice. But I know we have a choice to be here. We have a
Yeah.
choice how we live this. We have a choice where we go, how we get there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. What a story, hey?
Yeah, I paraphrased.
Um, you you are with your soulmate after 40 years of a wait. A long, long wait, might I add.
Yes. So the beautiful thing with this, and we'll start with the best part, is that it's the first time I've actually known what true love is,
Oh,
because she and I have spent so many lifetimes together that no one else cut it, and I like, you just kind of know, like, oh, yeah, this is who I hang out with, and so you feel a sense of love. But to know what true love is, I'd never felt that before, where I'm like, oh, this feels weird.
mm-hmm.
What's this? So it was a learning experience. I knew that when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, 6, I knew Heather was important. So I would always pay attention to people named Heather because there was energy in it. And with anything, it's like me being drawn to speak and get to know you. There's energy there. And so I listen to the energy. I pay attention, but I kind of hold myself back and observe a little bit too. And so along my life, there were different things I found attractive in a woman, which was not necessarily the normal, like what you would find in a supermodel, really. It was a certain curve to the spine, a certain curve in the back, and hands that were like working hands, a foot with a high arch, just kind of different, and eyes that didn't perfectly track. Which is just like, I'm like, why? Over the years, I would see this. I'm like, wow, why is that attractive to me? I never really figured it out. And who's Heather? But I've let it go.
What do you mean eyes that don't track? Do you mean like crooked eyes?
Perfectly line up. One's just a little off to the side.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a trip,
Like
right?
quirky things.
So,
quirky things.
yeah, quirky things. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm obviously coming from a male's perspective. So quirky things. So quirky things that makes this what I would find attractive, and always women from 5'8" to 5'10". I'm 5'6". So I was never attractive to shorter women, and I didn't think much of it, to be honest. I didn't think much of Heather either, in that sense, other than. But 12 years ago, my brother met a woman named Heather. I'm like, finally, whatever this energy is going to go to rest, because that's just weird. That's cool. I'm glad for my brother. He found it. Finally, he's older than I am. He found is the person he was going to spend his life with. He marries her. That's cool. But the energy didn't go away. And, she's okay. We get along, but spiritually not the same, and there's no energy in her that way at all. Actually, there's no energy in any of my family, but that's a different story. but there's no energy there. And then about a year and a half ago, I met Heather, this woman, Heather, and I'm looking at her, and it didn't click right away. I'm like, that's interesting. Then we had all these things that, like, we're both left-handed. All these things were just like in common that were really interesting. But again, I didn't really put it together. And then it clicked. Like suddenly, the universe goes, all right, here's what it is. And her grandmother, who passed years before, started explaining it to me as well. And yeah. And it was, and then I got it, and I'm like, holy, what? Like, get out. That's crazy. Oh. But what the gift in that is knowing that she was like, it was like getting the key to all these doors you didn't know you had. All these rooms, and they were rooms that were full of beauty. The beauty of art, the beauty of music, like hearing music for the first time, art for the first time. And we don't share space very often. So it's a very spiritual thing.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. It is so amazing. And so when I remember, like, and I'm not like, everything that I'm talking about is unique to her. I've never been like, like if when I run my hand along her foot, there's something about it. And I realize, like, the contours and the lines of her body, I'm like, oh my God. Wow. Just wow. And I was in awe. And I've never stopped being in awe. And so I'll draw, just like I'll draw her foot, or I'll draw her hand, or just like the curve along the neck. And I'm just amazed by it.
Wow.
It's an experience that I often I can't even find words. There aren't any words, because on a molecular level, on a spiritual level, in the cells in my body. So when she wakes up in the morning, I can feel it. When she's really happy, I can feel it, and it's just like a whoosh of energy. When her grandmother showed up, I could, it was amazing, and what the universe is constantly telling me, which also I've never had this message in my entire life. Love her with all you've got.
Oh.
Give her all the love you could give anybody. And they gave me so many creative ways to express love to her.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'll share a story, a snippet, because it was the most amazing. The universe, they had me go, the entourage, they had me go into we have it's called Trader Joe's. It's like
I know Trader Joe's, because don't forget I was in LA in 2017 to see
Trader Joe's is cool. I like Trader Joe's. So like so they said grab a marker and a piece of paper, and
they said grab a marker, did they?
Yeah, so grab a marker and a piece of paper, and so I grabbed this marker and piece of paper. I go in and I'm like, can I get whoever your best person is? They make their own signs. I'm like, I need you to make a sign that says, Heather, I love you, on this piece of paper. And the lady's looking at me at the counter like, you're kind of crazy, but okay. He calls the guy from the back room and he's like, give me a minute. So he goes back and he gets their special paper, and he gives me 3 different options of font. And that says, Heather, I love you. And I hear very clearly, now videotape him saying that and holding that up to Heather in the Trader Joe's. And I did, and I'm like, this is flipping crazy, but all right. And then the other one was, I was in the middle of that. I also was kind of shocked by. I'm in the middle of Walmart, and I'm staring at like the soda aisle, and they're like, all right, we want you to get bottles out, different colored bottles and caps, and go across the aisle and say, I love you, in different colors of bottles in the middle of the aisle at Walmart. I'm like, again, this is crazy, but all right, you know, but it was so cool, you know, and to have that flow through you is such a beautiful.
Did you video that one?
I took a picture of that.
Oh.
I did. Picture of that and sent it off to her.
And were people looking at you
like,
like we're crazy?
You know, it was funny because the guy that was stalking thought I was being a jerk. But I put everything back, you know, but a woman walked up to me and she looked at me. She's like, that is, and it was for me, but it was for the people that were able to observe it too and go, that is the most beautiful thing.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah.
And that's a gift. That's a gift to have to like hear the universe saying so clearly, love her with all you've got. And even if we argue, because we do on occasion, because we're both strong personalities, and when we try and force what we think is run each other, you know. And it's funny though, we step out of frequency. When we step out of frequency, we're out of frequency. And our souls aren't listening anymore, and they don't care. We can act like complete fools, and they don't care. They go back to loving and loving and loving, and they don't care if we argue.
Yeah.
So we get past that, and souls jump right back in. Love her with all you've got. Like, well, would I love anyone else this much? Yeah, I start getting snarky with the universe, right? Like, no, you love her more than you love anyone ever, and you're gonna love her more than ever. Yeah. And
awesome sauce. Awesome sauce. That's such a lovely love story.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's I've got about 200 pages of writing on that.
Yes, you're writing a book, aren't you?
Yeah. Just because I think it's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
We out on how important it is to just remember to love everybody first.
Yeah.
You know, if you throw the love out there first, no matter how it lands, throw the love out there.
Yeah. Well, that is beautiful words to end this on. And I'd just like to ask you, you know, what services can you provide to people if people are looking to get in touch with you, and how can you be contacted?
So I can be contacted through Facebook. I can also Instagram. So you go look for Glenn Marasca on Instagram, and I'm on there.
Okay, we should clarify that your surname is spelled Maresca. And
Yep, Maresca. It's Glenn with 2 N's. I'm not a gully.
Yeah, I was going to say, and your first name has 2 N's, because a lot of people spell Glenn with 1.
Yeah, they're gullies or meadows with
mind of its own today.
And I do work with people specifically with Reiki and healing work. You're just gonna sit there and mess with that, right?
Sorry, it's in my way.
No, it's good. So both energy healing, because I will do that just walking through. I was walking through a tattoo show and ended up doing energy work with a half dozen people, which just got thrown in my path. It was this day, like, all right, here we go. So whether it's one-on-one, coaching people so they can find their path, you know, if you feel drawn, I always say, if you feel drawn, reach out.
Yeah.
I love people. Because we're all in this together.
We're all in this together. You did break up there a little bit, but I think I could figure out what you were saying. You said, I love people.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's important.
That's brilliant. Lovely. Well, thank you so much for being my guest here today, Glenn. It's been an absolute pleasure having you and sharing your story with us. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Namaste.
I'm grateful.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.